It's been over 2 years since Russia first invaded Ukraine, but we seem no closer to ending the war than when it first started. The idea of a ceasefire has been pushed by Russian opposition leader Grigory Yavlinsky, who is the founder and leader of the country's Democratic Opposition Party Yabloko. To speak out in Russia is to risk one's life. Just ask Alexei Navalny, also a political opponent of President Vladimir Putin, who died in jail earlier this year. So I say, first of all, thank you so very much for your time, Grigory. I really appreciate it. It's very, very brave to speak out. You met with Vladimir Putin recently to talk about a ceasefire. What did that conversation involve?
That was a very important conversation in terms that, from my point of view, and for me, it's obvious there is no other way out. It is necessary to conclude a ceasefire agreement as soon as possible without any preconditions. After that, start to discuss the positions of Ukraine and Russia in details. Nothing will work without ceasefire. This is my position, and I was trying to explain this point, very important point, to President Putin.
So how did he receive the message that you were trying to give him? Was he open to what you had to say?
He accepted the message, but there were no answers.
Grigory, something that people use quite often in terms of pushing propaganda around this war, they point us to the polls in Russia and they say most people in Russia want this war. Look at this poll. Now, I don't believe that's true. You'd know much better than I would. Do most people in Russia want this war?
Several explanations. One of them, this is a big fear in the country. And the people are answering in the polls under the big pressure of two things, of terrible fear and propaganda. So, honestly speaking, this is very far from reality. I think so.
Tell me this, how do you fight for what you believe in when the regime you're fighting against is so brutal? It's the kind of courage that I can only imagine, to be honest. Someone like you fighting for what you believe in when the risk could be death. How do you put your fear aside?
This is my people. This is my country. I'm doing that for my country, for my people, for future, as far as I understand what to do and how to do that. I'm continuing to do that. So this is how it happens, nothing more. It's not too special.
Would you like Donald Trump to win the election in November? Do you think Donald Trump in power is good for Russia, for Russian people? He often talks about his relationship with Vladimir Putin. What are your thoughts?
Listen, let me be, in that case, a politically professional, okay? Not simply coming from the mood and the feelings, but from brains, and to say nobody in the world knows what he's going to do. This is a problem with Trump. Yeah. He don't know what he's going to do. He don't know. So it's a very special situation. If to be serious, it's very difficult to analyze the politics and behavior of the person when you have no idea what he's going to do. He's saying in the morning one thing, in the evening another thing. So, yeah.
And finally, you were speaking to me, and I'm so grateful that you are. I've wanted to speak to you for a very long time. I've been chasing this for a long time. But the consequences, I know, are so dangerous for you. Why do you speak so honestly and openly with me when you know what the end result could be of doing this?
It's necessary to conclude a ceasefire agreement. Otherwise, we can go as far as a big war, European war, maybe the world war. Look at nuclear threat. I'm saying that nuclear threat is serious. It's not a joke.
You mentioned nuclear then and that significant issue, particularly off the back of Kim Jong-un and Putin meeting in North Korea and signing a pact that is Well, very terrifying for the rest of the world. Their relationship in general is terrifying. I'd love to know your perspective on Putin's threats to unleash his arsenal, to use nuclear weapons in this war. Are they empty threats, or should we be worried?
Be careful. It's a possible thing. I'm not saying that it's just 100%, and I'm not saying it's tomorrow. I'm not saying that. Yeah. But my message is, be careful. It's not a joke. It's not just simply just populistic slogan. It's a very serious thing. There is such a book, Sleepwalkers. Sleepwalkers who brought the world to the First World War. Don't be sleepwalkers today.
Grigory Yavlinsky, so grateful for your time. Thank you so much for joining me here on Erin, and I look forward to hopefully chatting to you down the track.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.